Okay, now that we've actually entered into the time card application, what we'll want to do is go ahead and log in. Now, this site will actually look a little bit different if you're running Windows, Android, or Apple. So let's go ahead and log in. Click here, and then go ahead and put in your username, and then your password is going to be case sensitive. So if you did use capitalization in your password, make sure you enter it in correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the password, and then I would make sure that you click on this remember me. That way you don't have to actually type in this information every time you need to access this application. And then go ahead and log in. Okay, so initially it'll bring you to the dashboard, which will have a running total of your hours and pay for this week, and then also this month. So that's your home button. And then this icon here represents your actual day-to-day activity. So you'll want to use that to clock in. This button here is the weekly summary, which gives you a running total of your hours. Now, we don't actually have anything here quite yet, but we'll get to that. And a really nice feature is also the reports list. So you can actually list out all your time card activity within a specific range of time. So let's say you wanted to know how many hours you worked from January 1 to April 1st. You can create a report here and then print it out either in a web page or a PDF format or some other formats as well. This application is great for creating notes, so that if you have specific incidences in a particular day that you want to remember, you can type it in the notes, and then you can use this report so that it'll list out all your notes in a report format, so that you don't have to have all the payments and pay information and work hours information, but it's specifically just notes. So that's kind of a neat feature. The first thing we'll want to do when you log in for the first time is go ahead and set up your preferences. So what we want to do is click on this icon here, and then go into My Preferences. And then from here, we're going to initially set up most of your parameters. Now, the time zone, my time zone is going to be Pacific time. I'm going to go ahead and let it round to the nearest minute. I'm not sure, maybe there are some jobs that may round up or down in different increments, but you can change that here. We have a hour format that you can either do 12 hours AM PM, or you can do military time. I prefer doing the military time, so I'm going to click on 24 hour. And then my pay period starts on Sunday and goes through Saturday, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that blank here. I know some people, their pay structure may start on Wednesday or some other day, and you can actually change that here, but I'm going to go ahead and keep it on Sunday. Here is your default time entries. This is kind of great. For some jobs, you have a specific time that you clock in every day. I can go ahead and put that in here. Now, if you do have specific times, but every now and then you might have to log in at a different time, you can overwrite that when you're entering in your day-to-day activity. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my default time here. Now, like I said, this window, when you're setting your time, is going to look a little bit differently if you're using Android or Apple. So I'm going to say my typical start time is going to be 8:15. And even though we had put it on military time, since we haven't actually set our parameters yet, saved them yet, that's why it's given me the option of AM, PM. But if I came back to this screen, it would actually have 24 hours instead of AM, PM. So go ahead and click on Set. And then, I'm going to go ahead and leave this blank here, because with my job, I don't know exactly when I get off. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave this blank. You can, if you have a job that you know specifically what time you're going to get off, you can go ahead and put that in here. I'm going to go ahead and leave that blank. And then I typically take a lunch, a 30-minute lunch. Now, the 30-minute lunch, when you put it in here, actually detracts from your overall amount of paid work. So if you do get paid for your lunch, I would go ahead and just leave this blank. I know sometimes people don't take their lunches, and they take their lunch at home. You can go ahead and leave this blank. So this lunch allotment time will actually detract from your running total for paid hours. So if you're going to take a lunch, go ahead and put it in here, and then what we'll do is go ahead and click on save. Error information. So let's see, where did we mess up? I guess it looks like we need to have a specified clock out time. Alright, well let's go ahead and set it. And like I said, when you're in the day-to-day entry for time, you can go ahead and override this. So click on save, and it looks like we've got it. So I'm going to go ahead and click on home. Now we've got our clock in, clock out time set. One other thing. Let's go into my info and log in. Really importantly, I would go ahead and enter an email. Now this is a tester, so I'm not actually going to use an email here, but an email is really important so that if you happen to forget your password, if you put it in here, you can go ahead and reset your password. Your password is actually not stored in a visible manner that we can actually see. So what happens is that the computer will just ask you to reset your password, but we have to have an email to actually correspond with you. So it's really important that you do actually put an email in here. So let's go back and click on home. Let's go to pay rates. Now click on here to start your pay rate. Now it looks like we can go ahead and create different, so if you happen to get paid at a certain time, a pay rate at a certain time, or a certain range of times, you can enter the start time here, end date here. I know I get paid at one rate, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that blank, and I am going to put my hourly rate here, which I will use a fictitious one. Let's go ahead and put $10, and then overtime rate, we might have to do some math or pull out a calculator. Overtime rate is typically in Oregon, I know it's 1.5, so 10 times 1.5 is going to be 15, and Oregon law requires that our employers pay us after 8 hours in a day, so I'm going to put 8 hours. If you happen to work, you can change it per day or per week. I'm going to go ahead and keep it per day since I get paid overtime after 8 hours. And down here, notes, you can put in some notes. I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead and save it. Okay, now we have our pay rate set up and our clock in, clock out default time set and our lunch hour set, and we're ready to go.